All right, let's dive into this. And yeah, I know some of you are going to call this a hot take, maybe even a bit controversial. But I absolutely love how the San Francisco 49ers are handling this wide receiver situation. Seriously, I think it's one of the smartest, most calculated risks we've seen in the NFL offseason so far. And I believe, in the long run, it's going to pay off huge for them. Now, before you jump to conclusions, let's set the scene properly. You can't understand the move unless you understand the context. The 49ers, one of the most well-run organizations in the league, just traded away one of their biggest offensive weapons, former All-Pro wide receiver Deebo Samuel, to the Washington Commanders for, get this, a fifth-round pick. That's right, a player who, just a couple seasons ago, was one of the most electric playmakers in the NFL, now gone, and not even for a day 1 or day 2 draft pick. It was a shocker at first glance, no doubt. But when you peel back the layers, it actually makes a lot of sense. Here's the thing. Deebo was entering the final year of his contract, and while he still got juice, the 49ers had to ask themselves whether he was part of the long-term future of this team. And clearly, they decided the answer was no. That decision doesn't come from emotion. It comes from a place of planning, of strategy, of building for something bigger than just next season. With Deebo out of the picture, that leaves Brandon Ayuk, Ricky Pearsall, and Jawan Jennings as the top wideouts heading into training camp. Now, if you're worried already, I get it. Ayuk is a phenomenal talent, no doubt, but he's recovering from a pretty nasty injury, a torn ACL and MCL from October. That's a double whammy. And even though recovery timelines can vary, there's a real possibility he's not ready to go at the start of the season. Some reports have him returning near the end of training camp. Others suggest it could be mid-season. Either way, there's uncertainty there. So who's going to step up in the meantime? The team did bring in veteran Demarcus Robinson to add some depth. He's a solid pickup, experienced, reliable, and he fits what the 49ers like to do on the boundary. But there's a potential roadblock. He might be suspended for the first few weeks of the season due to that DUI arrest from last year. And honestly, it's frustrating that the league has sat on this for so long, potentially waiting until the start of the season to drop the hammer. That lack of clarity doesn't help anyone, least of all the 49ers. With all this swirling, of course speculation is going to heat up. Bleacher Report's Mo Moton threw out a couple names as possible solutions: Keenan Allen and Amari Cooper. Let's start with Allen. Veteran guy, still unsigned after a stint with the Bears, and yeah, he's got the resume. When healthy, he's one of the smoothest route runners in the game. He'd instantly add credibility and experience to that wide receiver room. But let's be honest, if the 49ers wanted him, they would have made a move by now. Keenan isn't unsigned because people forgot about him. He's unsigned because he wanted a deal that no one's been willing to give. Then there's Amari Cooper, another big name, another guy who has the potential to produce at a high level, but only if healthy. He dealt with injuries throughout the 2024 season, and at 30 years old, you have to wonder if that decline has already started. Sure, if he bounces back, he could be a huge asset, but that's a big if. And we're not just talking physical health here. Veteran players come with personalities, expectations, and locker room dynamics. You don't just plug in a guy like Cooper and expect everything to run smoothly. And here's where I really want to drive the point home. The 49ers aren't panicking. They're not rushing out to sign one of these big names just because there's a little bit of uncertainty at wide receiver. They've had all offseason to make a move like that. They've had the cap space. They've had the opportunity. But they haven't. And that tells you something. This front office, this coaching staff, they're betting on their system. They're betting on development. They're betting on Kyle Shanahan's ability to take guys like Ricky Pearsall, Jacob Cowing, and Jordan Watkins and turn them into real contributors. And honestly, I respect the hell out of that, because anyone can go out and grab a name. It takes real confidence to believe in what you're building from the ground up. Let's talk about Pearsall for a second. Rookie, but a guy who's already turning heads. He's got size, he's got speed, and most importantly, he's got that work ethic. Brock Purdy's already been singing his praises, talking about how these young guys are showing up with the right mindset. They're learning fast, they're catching on, and they're ready to compete. You can't fake that energy. And it sounds like Pearsall is making the most of every rep. Then there's Jacob Cowing, lightning fast, mature beyond his years, and coming off a big offseason. This is someone who's hungry to prove himself. You've also got Tariq Owens, a developmental guy who's been sticking around the practice squad and now finally has a real shot to crack the roster. Rookie minicamp reports have been glowing. Yes, it's early. Yes, it's against other rookies and fringe guys. But he knows the system, and he's executing. That matters. And we can't ignore Jordan Watkins, another weapon in the making. And the truth is, this WR group might be young and a little unproven, but it's got upside, big-time upside. And Brock Purdy? He's clearly excited. You can hear it in the way he talks about these guys. That's not lip service. That's your quarterback saying, we've got something special cooking here. Now, back to the offense as a whole. Some people are assuming that because Christian McCaffrey is getting older and because Brock Purdy just got paid, the 49ers are suddenly going to transform into some high-flying, pass-heavy offense. But I'm not buying that for a second. This is still Kyle Shanahan's team. This is still built around a philosophy that dates back to his dad. Physical football, run the ball, dominate the line of scrimmage, and use play action to open up the pass game. Sure, there will be tweaks. There always are. Shanahan isn't afraid to innovate, but the core identity isn't changing overnight. Even with Purdy's new contract, even with McCaffrey's eventual decline, they're not abandoning what's worked for them all this time. They're just preparing smarter. They're adjusting gradually. Speaking of McCaffrey, let's talk about him. After missing most of last season, he's coming back fully healthy, unrestricted, and motivated. And PFF even listed him as the top player returning from injury in 2025. That's a big deal. Some folks are already whispering about a potential comeback player of the year campaign. And honestly, why not? He's got the talent. He's in a system that knows how to maximize him. And if he stays healthy, he could be the engine that makes this entire thing go again. Look, some of the names being tossed around for that award. Joe Burrow, Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins. They're great players, but comeback stories? That's a stretch. Burrow still played well last year before the injury. Rodgers and Cousins are older quarterbacks with more question marks than answers. Meanwhile, McCaffrey is sitting there under the radar, ready to explode. If I were setting the odds today, I'd put him as the favorite. No hesitation. So yeah, while everyone's out there pushing panic buttons, the 49ers are sticking to the plan. They've got around $40 million in cap space, and they're not in a rush to burn it. That's smart. That shows patience and trust in the roster they've built. And the idea that you need to throw a bunch of money at aging receivers just because one of your stars is banged up, that's not how this team operates. They believe in development. They believe in next man up. And most importantly, they believe that Kyle Shanahan can get the absolute most out of whoever is on the field. We've seen it before. We'll see it again. This is a team that's thinking 2, 3 steps ahead while the rest of the league is chasing headlines. They've got a plan. They got depth. And they're betting on their guys. Let me know what you think in the comments. Are you with me on this? Or do you think the 49ers need to make a big move at wide receiver? Are Keenan Allen or Amari Cooper worth the risk? Or are you all in on the young guns, ready to watch them rise? All right, let's pick up where we left off because there's still plenty to unpack, especially when it comes to the depth and future of this 49ers wide receiver room and how the front office is handling what some might consider a problem. But let's be honest, it's only a problem if you're not paying attention to what's really happening behind the scenes. See, this isn't just about who's going to start week 1. It's about the vision this team has for the next 3 to 5 years. While other franchises are out here trying to slap Band-Aids on roster holes with overpriced veterans, San Francisco is building something sustainable. That's why they're not jumping to sign a guy like Amari Cooper or Keenan Allen. Because while those names are flashy and sound good on a graphic, what they bring at this point in their careers doesn't necessarily align with what the 49ers are trying to become. Take Amari Cooper, for instance. His numbers dipped last season, and while injuries played a role, you've got to consider the bigger picture. He's 30 now. That's the age where wide receivers start to slow down, especially those with nagging soft tissue issues. He's still talented, no doubt about it. But would he accept a short-term, low-guarantee contract to be WR3 on a run-heavy team? Probably not. And that's where fit matters just as much as talent. You don't just bring in a name for the sake of it. You bring in someone who's going to buy in, commit, and elevate the locker room culture. If there's even a chance a player becomes a distraction or demands targets, that's not a risk this team wants or needs to take. And Keenan Allen? Another proven vet, but he's 33. Yes, he's coming off some solid games despite the mess in Chicago, but that age matters, especially in Shanahan's offense, where route timing and precision are critical. One small slip in foot speed, one delayed break off the line, and the play's timing falls apart. Allen probably still wants to get paid like a top guy, and that's his right. He's earned it. But it doesn't mean the 49ers should be the ones giving him that check. Instead, what we're seeing is a vote of confidence in the current group. And I think that says more than any flashy free agent signing could. Kyle Shanahan has always been picky with receivers. Everyone knows it takes a long time for wideouts to earn his full trust. That's why it's so exciting to hear how highly Brock Purdy is speaking about these younger guys. He's not just being polite. He's seeing something real in camp, in the way they practice, the way they prepare, and the way they show up ready to compete every single day. And let's not forget, last season was a grind. Injuries hit hard. Ayuk missed a big chunk of the year. George Kittle was out at times. Deebo had his issues. But through it all, the offense still found ways to stay productive. And now, the guys who stepped up in those moments are back with more experience, more reps, and more hunger. Ricky Pearsall is maybe the biggest X factor here. He was just starting to find his rhythm when tragedy struck last year, and that derailed everything. But now, fully healthy, he's got a chance to grab a major role early in the season, especially if Ayuk needs more time. He's got the size, the route running, the toughness over the middle. He fits, and I think Kyle knows exactly how to use him. Jawan Jennings? He's not flashy, but he's dependable. Tough as nails, physical in the run game, and a favorite on third downs. It's unclear if he'll get a new deal soon, but when he plays, he delivers. Having him in the mix brings a layer of stability that you can't overstate, especially for a young quarterback still learning how to read the field at NFL speed. And let's not overlook what Demarcus Robinson brings to the table. That potential 3-week suspension is annoying, no doubt, but when he's available, he's going to play. He's fast, he's versatile, and he can take the top off the defense. That kind of threat keeps safeties honest and opens up everything underneath for guys like McCaffrey, Kittle, and Pearsall. So yeah, I get why some fans might be anxious. Losing a big name like Deebo Samuel hurts, emotionally and strategically. But this team isn't rebuilding. They're retooling. They're being smart. They're allocating resources in a way that gives them flexibility, not just now, but in future seasons too. And in a league where cap space is gold, having around $40 million to roll over or deploy when it really counts. That's a massive advantage. It's the kind of foresight that separates the good teams from the great ones. This group is betting on development, not desperation. And if you ask me, that's the kind of long-game mindset that wins championships. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to 49ers Zone and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the San Francisco 49ers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In a surprising twist that's already stirring conversations across the NFL, whispers have begun circulating that the San Francisco 49ers may be eyeing none other than star wide receiver Justin Jefferson to don the iconic number 18 jersey. Although nothing has been officially confirmed by the franchise, sources close to the team hint at the possibility of a blockbuster move that could shake up the league's wide receiver landscape. Justin Jefferson, who has dazzled fans with his remarkable route running and explosive playmaking since entering the league, would represent a major coup for the 49ers. The team, long known for its strategic approach to building a balanced roster, could be positioning itself to add one of the most dynamic offensive weapons available. The number 18 jersey, a number with its own legacy within the franchise, might soon be worn by Jefferson, signaling a new chapter for both player and team. Rumors started swirling after insiders noticed subtle shifts in team personnel strategies and social media hints that sparked speculation among fans and analysts alike. Jefferson's arrival would fill a significant void in the 49ers' receiving core, potentially giving quarterback Trey Lance a formidable target to elevate the team's passing game to new heights. The synergy between Jefferson's exceptional skill set and the 49ers' offensive scheme could make for a thrilling combination, one that many believe could propel the franchise back into Super Bowl contention. Yet, as with all rumors in the fast-paced NFL world, caution remains key. The details surrounding this potential signing are murky at best, and no official announcements have been made. However, the buzz alone has ignited fervent discussions on sports talk shows, fan forums, and social media platforms, with supporters eagerly envisioning the impact Jefferson could have on the Bay Area's football scene. If the deal comes to fruition, it would mark one of the most talked-about acquisitions of the offseason, possibly redefining the competitive dynamics within the NFC West. For now, fans and analysts alike will be watching closely, dissecting every hint and leak, as the 49ers potentially prepare to welcome one of the NFL's brightest young stars into their fold. All while the question looms large, will Justin Jefferson really be the new number 18 in San Francisco? That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the San Francisco 49ers, make sure to subscribe to 49ers Zone and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.